All right,
Oh
we are
goodness.
live. Welcome to the Porkchop Sandwiches podcast number 2, our second podcast and our first podcast of 2014. I am,
Happy late New Year.
yeah, definitely happy late New Year, but I mean it's okay because not too much happened, I guess.
That's true.
I'm joined today with the usual crew. I guess it's only usual because we've only had 2 podcasts. Um, I got Mitchel Kenward here, Awkward Mage, our Nintendo editor,
Hello, hello.
and I'm here, Amir Lampe, Obi-Wan Jacoby. You know me, I guess.
All right. I guess we'll start off with what games we've been playing lately. Why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, I have been actually today, this morning, I was playing Rust. It is finally playable at this point.
Oh,
The
okay.
server browser, they finally kind of fixed it. It doesn't totally bring my system to a crawl. Like before, I noticed that when I would load the servers, like when I would hit the refresh button, it would just sort of you could see the little fire in a can in the background. It would like go to like 1 frame per second, and then it wouldn't let me alt tab out or do anything. Actually, that's another glitch. Um, but now I can it loads the servers reasonably fast. It still doesn't really let you do anything until it's done. Um, but at least it doesn't look like a slideshow. Um,
Now, you said that game's still in beta or something?
it's still an alpha, I'm pretty
Still in
sure.
alpha. Okay, I was thinking you did say that last week.
It's like visible progress.
Okay.
But the thing about it is it, I'm still sort of sketchy about it. I don't know if it's gonna be successful or not. But I mean, I'm along for the ride. I'll just go back to hitting rocks and stuff. Oh man,
Yeah.
I that game is it's something else. I mean, it's kind of like Daisy, but like except you like start off naked. Um, I mean, there are zombies, but like the zombies are actually something you should worry about because they can hit you 3 times and you're dead. Unlike
Oh
Daisy,
wow.
where you can have a fist fight with a zombie and come out alive. But what have you been playing?
Honestly, I don't have much to say about it. I've just been playing Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars for the Super Nintendo. Kind of a sort of spoiler on my next video that's probably going to take 3 months to make. Just working on some JRPG videos because, well, I'm a RPG fan, I guess.
Oh, which JRPGs?
What's that?
Which JRPGs?
Mario RPGs is what I'm
Oh, okay.
specifically working on right now. A bit of a spoiler there. Don't tell anyone.
I, yeah, it's totally going on a podcast because we have the recording going right now.
Talking to you, whoever's watching.
Yeah, don't say anything. Don't get out of here. Actually, no, don't leave. Okay, so I guess I could sort of talk about my phone. I bought a new phone, the LG Optimus G Pro, a phone from 2013 that didn't really get a lot of press. It's a decent phone. It's spec'd out pretty well. It's got, quad core Snapdragon 600, 5-inch or 5.5-inch 1080p screen, 13 megapixel camera. I mean, it's pretty much the par of what the rest of the phones these days were.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. The image you sent me, it does look pretty nice though.
It's pretty much designed to compete with the Galaxy Note, but see, the thing about the Galaxy Note is that it's a little up there with the Apple products in terms of the price degradation. Like you can't really find
Uh,
a cheap used one. That's what I originally intended to do. I was intending on trying to find like a used either Galaxy Note 2 or maybe get lucky with a Galaxy Note 3, but that really wasn't happening. So I decided I'll run with this. And I mean, it's not like it's a bad phone or anything. It's got the same processor as the Galaxy S4.
okay.
It's got a giant battery, so hopefully when I go to your house, my battery won't be absolute crud. Because
But now, does it take the same charger or no?
it does.
Okay,
It'll probably take
that's
like
good.
twice as long to charge, though. Like the battery is like well, not twice capacity. It's like 1.5 times. Not bad. Um, I guess I'll let you start. With you got Pokemon Bank among other things.
Yeah,
But
just a quick update on Pokemon or Pokebank, I guess, as you'd say.
Whatever they want to call it.
It's still not it's still not released on the eShop, but that's all I could say.
To be
The
announced.
release date is still to be determined officially. I guess they're just working on the servers. They've had some serious issues ever since Christmas. They weren't anticipating, and it hit them like a rock, I guess. But to go along with that, there's another thing that kind of irks me. In Japan, I believe in Pokemon Center distributions, they have a special Inkay. It
Oh.
it's a an event Pokemon that it knows a
Yeah, the
special
squid
move
thing.
called, yes, exactly. It knows a special move called Happy Hour. That when it's used, it doubles the money that's earned in battle.
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember reading about that.
Yeah, it's just kind of like they're kicking us while we're down. I think I said something about that last week. It just kind of sucks because it's like, oh, we're sorry this happened. Let's reward the people who actually got Pokemon Bank and not give anything to the people who are still waiting for it. You know?
Yeah, that's pretty lame with Nintendo, especially since like I remember for the Nintendo Direct thing for Pokemon X and Y, they were like, "Oh, it's going to be released all at the same on the same day everywhere instead of it being
Right.
a staggered release." And
Well,
like
there
that's
was
sort of
like
frustrating because like the support doesn't go over with like the fact that they released it at the same time. Like you don't get the same treatment anyway. It's
Yeah, I can agree with that. And it's funny because it makes me think like it's karma because up in a Canadian ma and pa kind of video game shop, they released Pokemon X and Y early and they got
yeah,
Nintendoed, as they would say.
yeah,
So, so I guess that's kind of like karma coming back on us because it's like North America.
probably. Darn.
I think it's kind of funny though the way that kind of works out. Um, I'm gonna shift from the whole Pokemon thing, but I'm still on the RPG kick here, so I'm gonna talk about Bravely Default for the Nintendo 3DS.
Oh, I
There
haven't
is
heard
now
of
a
that.
no, oh, it's Square's new game that it's an RPG. Hopefully, it doesn't have microtransactions. Um, it's a new IP they came out with. There's actually a demo on the eShop, which is what I wanted to talk
A
about.
new IP.
Yeah,
Huh.
surprisingly. Um,
I like the
there's
art
a
style. It reminds me of Final Fantasy Tactics.
Yeah, that's kind of like what came up too. It's got a pretty, it's like really basic. They went sort of to their roots. Like they use the whole Final Fantasy 1 thing where there's four characters. It's like completely turn-based action battles, but there's a whole new system. It's called the Bravely Default system. It's something like how you can charge up these, I think they're called Brave Points or something, but I'm not going to go into that because I actually haven't played the demo yet. It
Yeah.
came out a couple days ago. Um, and lastly, uh, still going on to the Bravely Default. I got two things actually. Ironically, they actually announced a Bravely Second that is going to sort of thrive on how well Bravely Default does. They're doing like a whole Final Fantasy thing every year with this. Hopefully, it doesn't end
Yeah.
up the same way. Uh, and then there was just a small bit of news on Bravely Default. Now that the demo is out, we can obviously see that there's going to be some changes from the Japanese version. Uh, just some minor things like some costume changes, primarily for female characters.
Yeah. Whoop
And
bye. Nothing.
they,
Enough
right? And then they just changed some of the ages. They upped them from the Japanese version. I think it was like 15 in Japan, and the characters' ages are now like 18 or something like that.
said. Okay. Yeah. Just for sort of legality purposes.
Definitely, that's not
Um.
something.
There no any game made in Japan is no stranger to having stuff changed like that.
Oh God, no.
But I mean, I have to say, from what I'm looking at in like Google Images, I'm absolutely like in love with this concept art. This is like sort of evolved from Final Fantasy Tactics.
Yeah, I'm like really excited for it because I loved the Final Fantasy games for the DS, and now I'm
Yeah,
kind of glad. I'm like, you
dude,
kind of get
three
sick of
is
seeing.
difficult. Three for the DS is,
I mean, you can only stand getting another Final Fantasy IV remake or remastery
dude.
so many times.
Aren't they in the teens? Like, aren't they in the teens of Final Fantasy IV remake? Like they're on like their 13th or 14th one or something like that.
Honestly,
Or
it
is
would
it?
not surprise me. Yeah, so it's just as a fan of RPGs, I've can't say that enough. I'm really looking forward to this, and I'm looking at it. I didn't actually look at too much concept art. It does look really good. Voice acting was atrocious, but I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that they're keeping in Japanese voice acting or something like that as an option.
If I can toggle it, I will love them forever. Like that
I'm
is my
almost
favorite thing: English subtitles with Japanese voices.
Yeah, I'm almost positive that it's in there, but I could be wrong. I have yet to play the demo. I'm actually thinking about doing that at some point tonight after this.
Yeah, if there's the demo's just free, right? Like,
Yeah, free
right,
demo.
I'll probably download it because
Oh
I need
yeah,
something to play other than Pokemon X.
yeah. I've been on that playing that game a lot lately too. Just got down the whole IV breeding and EV seeing stuff. It's a lot easier in this game.
Yeah, you got your super training or whatever.
Oh yes.
I always forget if it's super training or hyper training. I don't remember.
It's super training.
Okay.
Yeah. So other than that, I didn't have too much. There hasn't been much going on Nintendo wise other than this whole Pokebank fiasco. Kind of a pain. So you said you had some stuff you wanted to talk about regarding PC?
Yeah, well, PC, well, you know what? You could always rationalize that the Macintosh is a PC, and it is, because, I mean, they use Intel processors now. It's been like that for years, actually. Talking about timelines, the new Mac Pro has hit, the big reviewers.
Okay.
Actually, I believe it's on sale now. Let me double check on that. I believe it's on sale at a baseline price of $2,999. So $3,000. That's a baseline that will get you a. Hold on, I gotta go down a spec sheet here. All right, so the baseline setup is gonna get you a Intel Xeon E5 1620 V2, which I believe is quad core. Yep, quad core hyper threaded.
Okay,
3.7 gigahertz. So that's like a Core i7, something about comparable to a 4770K.
Oh.
It's gonna come with 12 gigabytes of DDR3, 1866 megahertz. Air checking RAM, ECC. I see. It's if you look at the pictures of this thing, it's an interesting form factor because like you see that everything else has been sort of shrunken down. Like it's got a sort of, especially like the graphics cards and stuff. They're mobile graphics cards. Like they're graphics cards designed to be in gaming laptops.
Yeah, I see this.
You can sort of tell. But then like the only thing that hasn't really been shrunken down is the RAM. Like you just got like some regular sticks of RAM on the sides there.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Now, you don't know when this was announced, do you? Just out of curiosity.
It was announced several months ago. Actually, it was announced like back in September or October. I know it was like the first few weeks of school for me at least.
And you think it just recently went on sale now?
Yeah, it was to be announced when it was going to be released, but I think it officially says that it's available for purchase.
Okay. That was just out of curiosity.
Trying to go to their page here. They have all these like little like transitions and everything that slow me down. Yeah, buy now. It's available.
What's the price on that?
Baseline $2,999, and the next one up is $3,999. So yeah, this is compared to the previous generation Mac Pro, the giant aluminum cheese grater one. That one was. Doesn't it look like one though? Like it's
I was trying to think. It looks like something, and I couldn't put it in better words.
It's a cheese grater. Like you could literally grate cheese on it. But I believe the baseline model of that was either $26.99 or $27.99.
Okay.
But interesting that they decide to go up in price. But I mean, in terms of they're switching to all flash storage, so they got SSDs in there. I know your latest laptop that you've got has got an SSD.
Oh yeah, I'm loving it.
Fast as hell.
I wanted one for my tower, but it's in my laptop, so I guess I'll take it.
Yeah, dude, you need to upgrade. You need to put one in your tower. Give it some more.
I know. I've been looking at them for a while now.
But it's great. No moving parts. Barely any heat. It's probably the best upgrade you can give to your computer at the moment. Like RAM is sort of superficial. 4 gigs, 6 gigs, 8 gigs.
I used to run 8 gigs, but I was getting memory dumps, and I've been running 4 for probably over a year now, and I have not had issues yet.
Yeah, might
I
be
just have not
kind of
got
hitting the
around to.
ceiling in Vegas, but you should be fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're switching to all flash storage, so they got little PCI Express SSD in there. Actually, it starts you off at 256 gigabytes, so I'm
Wow.
glad they didn't skimp on that, but they better
Yeah,
not
definitely.
have with the price tag. They start you off with dual AMD FirePro D300s, which I believe are the equivalent of Radeon 7750s. Actually, I'm going to double check that as I continue on. You got your gigabit Ethernet, two of them. You got 802.11 AC wireless, so latest wireless standard. You got 6 Thunderbolt ports. Now, Thunderbolt, not really anyone other than Apple has been hyping about Thunderbolt, though there's like plenty of potential. I guess I'll just sort of explain it to you. How you got like PCI Express slots on your motherboard in your desktop.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
where you expand your stuff. Thunderbolt is essentially a external version of that. It gives you each port gives you a few pieces of a full PCI Express bus.
Oh, okay.
So like potentially, at least with the laptops, you could possibly have like external graphics cards in the future. I mean,
Wow.
even though Thunderbolt has been out for several years, like nobody's really been picking it up. Like they've got adapters. They've got like PCI Express to Thunderbolt adapters. So I mean, you can have your PCI Express stuff work over Thunderbolt, but I mean, there's no like actual just Thunderbolt devices yet. Well, I mean, there are some, but they're like super expensive.
Yeah, they really are going for more like a sort of like a mix and match sort of thing, huh?
Yeah, I mean, because they're shrinking the chassis, so I mean, they do have to move to something that's you know,
Right.
outside the housing. I keep tripping over my words, but see, it's gonna be interesting how it plays out because I don't know if forcing the Mac Pro to this form factor is necessarily going to make manufacturers create Thunderbolt devices. But I mean, I Apple does have that leverage, so I guess they could pull it off. But I mean, it's going to be interesting to see if they can. Now with the graphics cards, let me get to that FirePro D300. I just don't want to be wrong on air, you know.
Oh yeah, definitely.
D300. Let's see. Let's look at some forum posts. Comparable to, okay, it's Hawaiian Islands, so Hawaiian Islands, that's 7,000 series graphics cards. So 2 gigabyte I'm gonna say it's probably a 7750 or 7770. I'm getting like mixed sort of mixed answers for this.
Yeah.
Here. Go here. 1526, no, 1280 cores. Okay, so 1280 cores, that's like the 7770. Yeah, 7770. It's like the AMD Radeon 7770. I'm stuck in the past. I keep calling AMD ATI.
I was wondering.
I grew up with ATI. I'm probably not going to stop calling them ATI because the ATI DNA is still there. Red is still their color. Whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
Now that I'm done with my tangent, I guess I'll sort of talk about like performance. Now performance with the new Mac Pro, it's sort of based on benchmarks from other sites. It's been sort of consistent is the word for it, I guess. It's a consistent increase in performance, but I mean that's in mostly single threaded stuff. I mean there are multi-threaded benchmarks and multi-threaded applications that do see a large benefit, but only really from the 12 core model. The 6 and 4 core models, they're going to perform on par with what we had from last generation, which is kind of interesting because I mean you could potentially get a last generation Mac Pro and then spec it out with 2 quad cores and have it be cheaper than trying to spec it out the same with an 8-core or 12-core Xeon in the current Mac Pro. So this pricing is going to be interesting. I mean, I have no doubt that people are going to, like, you know, they're going to buy it like crazy unless, like, they can't deal with the form factor. Which, I mean,
Yeah,
oh, go ahead.
I can understand that, though.
I mean, having to... This isn't the first time that Apple has made everybody throw out their expansion cards and peripherals and stuff. I mean, they just sort of do that. They just sort of, you know, bulldoze their way through, technology upgrades.
At spring cleaning or something.
Yeah, I mean, and admittedly, there is stuff that needed to go, like FireWire. I mean, I know one person who still uses their FireWire port on their laptop. Actually,
wow.
It's like a really old, like, Sony DV camera or something that they're using. I don't even. But the performance for the Mac Pro, though, like, versus the 27-inch iMac and whatnot, in the single threaded applications, like a lot of video games, a lot of fairly unoptimized programs that don't know how to properly multi-thread, or the developer hasn't written proper multi-threading into it. The 27-inch iMac spec'd out tends to leap ahead in terms of performance, but then when you switch to something that takes advantage of the extra cores, the extra threads, you really see an increase in speed, especially with, like, Cinebench, the multi-threading. I'm actually looking at a non-text review right now because they make the best graphs. They do make the best graphs.
Hey, can't argue with you there.
Yeah, I hope to grow up one day and be as good a grapher, but the comparison is huge. Like, we're looking at almost 3 times increase in performance with multi-threaded benchmarks, multi-threaded applications. But, like, a lot of programs aren't going to take advantage of it. So Photoshop is very single-threaded. Actually, okay. I witnessed a comparison between the AMD 8-core processors, the FX8350, versus some of Intel's dual-core i3s. And a lot of the i3s were beating out the FX8350 at Photoshop performance, and that's just because Photoshop it's very single-threaded. I mean,
wow.
I think they take advantage of 2 threads now, but it's nothing amazing. So, I mean, for people who are running Photoshop, they're probably better off just getting, like, a souped-up iMac. But, I mean, hey, whatever floats their boat, they can get whatever they want. But for my perspective, it would be more cost-effective to just get a spec'd-out iMac and just work with that. And actually, the iMac they were using for comparison wasn't even I don't believe it was the fully spec'd-out model. No, it wasn't. It was one up from the baseline.
Oh.
But I mean, I guess before I finish up, I should talk about the fact that their sort of newfangled cooling design, where it's like a cylinder and it just sort of all the air rises up through the cylinder and goes out the top. I mean,
that's actually interesting, though.
It makes sense. I mean, a lot of companies were going toward that. Well, I say were because the example I'm going to use doesn't do it anymore. The Xbox 360S, the fan is on top, which is, like, possibly the best decision Microsoft has made in years. Probably wow. The best. Because, I mean, my Xbox 360S, while it does get hot, like, you can put your hand on that vent, it's pretty uncomfortably hot. But at least it's going in the direction that most hot air goes. It's going in the correct direction. It's cooling pretty efficiently. I mean, I guess I'll wait for it to be more than a year old and see if my graphics chip dies on the thing, like, you know, my other 3 Xboxes. But I guess I'll wait and see for that. But it's actually pretty similar in that the Mac Pro, the new one, has one single fan that's sort of doing everything. But the thing is, they let it idle at some pretty high temperatures. Like, we're looking at, like, 80 degrees Celsius. It's like in the upper hundreds of degrees
Oh
Fahrenheit.
yeah, definitely.
At least I think that it's kind of dangerous that they're doing that, especially with the graphics cards. The graphics cards, once they get to a certain temperature, it's a little sketchy. You might expect some failure of the GPU a few years into owning the device, at least. Well, not every NVIDIA product, but my 9600 GT certainly did not get any better as time went on, because it had a really inefficient cooler. But yeah, like the processor, it gets up to, at least with the 12 core version, it goes all the way up to like around just under 100 degrees Celsius. That's like going near 212 boiling water. Like
Yeah,
this thing might
holy
be more than
crap.
just a trash can. This thing might have a built-in incinerator, you know?
Right.
Actually, I should have someone like put their cup of tea on there and see if it keeps it warm. Now
That's up there with the Kool-Aid pitcher I wanted to make out of a GameCube.
we should do that, because the GameCube, well, at least it's too bad we demolished mines. I could have kept it. We could have done that.
Yeah.
But I guess I should make a disclaimer. Apple fans, I own Apple products. I had a MacBook Pro. I since haven't gotten another one, primarily because of price. I'm not. I jab fun at everyone like this. I jab fun at Lenovo for their awful hinges. I jab fun at Dell because they don't have a good reputation, even though they do make some good computers. I jab fun at Toshiba because it's Toshiba. Ugh. I treat all the manufacturers like this. I sort of poke fun at them. I sort of am critical of choices that they made that they, in hindsight, should have thought of fixing. I mean, unless we're gonna have a professional from the manufacturer come and tell us why they decided not to do things or why they decided to do things, we're just gonna have to stick with our criticism and our speculation, because they're probably not gonna tell us why, out of pride. Okay, disclaimer over. Chill,
All
Mac
right.
fanboys.
So now we're still on the computer topic, and as some of you may know, a couple days, I don't know how long ago. For me, it was yesterday.
It was yesterday.
I don't know how long it was supposed to be going on for, but Steam was going a little sketchy for us. Why don't you fill us in on that too, Amir?
Okay, so Steam was DDoSed by a couple of very proud Twitter users. Last night there was on and off disconnects, at least for the desktop version of Steam. The mobile version of Steam was actually staying connected, so I don't know if they were just pointing at the servers for the desktop version or what. But I was having people, pardon me, that's like Twitter making noise. Also my dog. I had people in my friends list messaging me, and like only my phone was blowing up, and they were going, "What are you doing? Come on, I want to talk to you on Steam Voice or whatever." And I'm like,
Yeah, I had I had people like, I was trying to add someone as a friend, and every time I hit add as friend, it's like, "Oh, just kidding, can't do that." I'm like, "Oh, that's fantastic."
Yep, and I was telling people I'm playing this game, and they would be like, no you aren't. It says you're offline." And I was like, oh, yeah, something is wrong. And I also was trying to download Team Fortress 2 so I could play Man vs. Machine with some friends, and that download wasn't going very well with the DDoSing. I mean, it ultimately finished, but it was not fun. But the people who are responsible, there is a CHF the cat on Twitter, and at larceny _. They're sort of the people taking responsibility for this. Seemingly they're doing this because another group of, well, quote unquote hackers, it's DDoSing, it's packet flooding.
Mhm.
They're basically following in the footsteps of another group of people that were DDoSing Origin, which getting them to get incapacitated, getting Origin probably didn't take that much effort, I'm guessing.
Oh, you know what? I think they got a hold of think they got a hold of Battle.net too, Blizzard's
Yeah, they
website.
got Battle.net too. I forgot to mention
I
that.
was just thinking about that, yeah, because they were having some issues too. A couple, I don't know if it was like last week. It was like just around New Year's.
Yeah,
Yeah,
as a person who participated in this nonsense on behalf of like 4chan, yes, everybody was 13 years old once. Um, I don't know. I don't see the point of doing it. At least to Steam, I don't see the point because I mean they weren't really doing anything terrible. I mean, sure
right. I
it's
mean, they're just kind of
DRM.
being, excuse my language, they're kind of just being dicks.
Yeah. Pretty much. Origin I understand because they're basically dragging down their games with their lack of success. But not Steam. Why Steam? It's a popular gaming platform. You don't have any reason to do this.
Yeah.
Um, and let's see what else. I guess I have one more thing to talk about. Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance is only a few days away. It's coming January 9th. I actually pre-purchased it during the Steam holiday sale. Um, and it's coming with a bunch of stuff. It's coming with DLC missions, a bunch of like stuff that you would have had to purchase if you bought it on the PlayStation or the Xbox. Um, and a new graphics options menu for typical PC display adjustments, as well as a Zangeki setting, which
Now,
allows the users to set the amount of cuts Raiden can make. Wow.
now I've got a question. I heard originally this wasn't supposed to be canonical, but uh, that fans had sort of complained about that. Is that still the case? Do you know, by any chance?
It's still unresolved from what I know. I mean, it's Hideo Kojima. He's gonna be ambiguous until the very end with the
Oh
thing.
yeah, he has some shenanigans.
But I'm going to get I think it's not canon personally. Although it's Hideo Kojima, so it probably is canon, and he's just pulling everyone's leg. But
Yeah.
I guess we'll see in the future. Keep your eyes on the wikis. We'll see. I guess since my phone is vibrating, we should wrap this up.
All right. I'm Awkward Mage.
And
At
I
Awkward Mage
oh
on Twitter. Mitchell Kenward. Sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead, because I'm still not used to making podcasts.
Me neither. I didn't have anything else to say.
Yeah. I'm Obi-Wan Jacoby, Amir Lampe. I'm at Porkchop Sandwiches without the vowels in sandwich. It'll be in the YouTube description. You can see
Yeah.
my Twitter handle from there. You can see our website's our website's Twitter account at Porkchop's Tweets. Go check that out. You'll get any updates on new podcasts and whatnot whenever I decide to update it. Um, we're also on Facebook. Just search Porkchop Sandwiches on there or porkchopsandwich.es, either of the two. Um, Now, that's pretty much it.
All right. Have a good 2014, everyone.
Yeah, happy 2014 from us at porkchopsandwich.es. Go visit us at porkchopsandwich.es for more to come. We do videos, we do gaming commentary, we do reviews, especially Awkward Mage. Check out all his stuff. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Uh, See you then. I guess next podcast. I'm still sort of awkward with the whole talking to an audience thing.